After years of turning compost piles and waiting months for decomposition, I discovered something that changed everything about how I build soil. It wasn't another expensive amendment or complicated technique. It was sitting in my recycling bin all along, and it solved problems my compost never could. What I'm about to share with you might completely flip your approach to soil building, especially if you're tired of wrestling with weeds, compaction, or endless watering. Most gardeners worship at the altar of compost, and I was no different. But here's what nobody talks about. Compost takes forever to mature, demands constant attention, and often fails to address the root causes of poor soil health. Cardboard, when used strategically, tackles multiple soil problems simultaneously while requiring almost zero maintenance. The magic starts the moment you lay it down. Unlike compost that needs 6 months or more to become usable, cardboard begins working immediately. It creates an instant protective barrier that smothers aggressive weeds without suffocating your soil. While plastic barriers trap heat and kill beneficial organisms, cardboard breathes. Water and air move through it freely, but light cannot penetrate, which means those stubborn weeds meet their end without a single drop of herbicide. The technique is straightforward. Start by removing any tape, glossy labels, or colored coatings from your cardboard. You want only plain brown material touching your soil. Lay down 2 overlapping layers across your garden bed, making sure there are no gaps where weeds might sneak through. This double layer provides enough thickness to block even the most determined plants while remaining thin enough to break down within a single growing season. Here's where things get really interesting. Within days of laying cardboard, worms discover the dark, moist environment underneath and move in like they found 5-star accommodations. The underside of wet cardboard stays consistently damp and protected, creating exactly the conditions earthworms crave. As they feed on the softening fibers, they drag pieces down into the soil profile, mixing carbon-rich material directly into your growing zone. Every bite they take produces nutrient-dense castings that enrich your topsoil immediately. This is fundamentally different from compost, which you add on top and hope eventually works its way down. With cardboard, soil improvement happens at root level from day one. The worm activity alone can transform depleted earth into a thriving ecosystem faster than any compost pile ever could. Traditional composting forces you to build fertility in a separate location, then transport it to your beds. It's inefficient and labor-intensive. Cardboard flips this model entirely. You're creating humus directly in the ground where roots will actually grow. The cardboard acts as a slow-release carbon source, feeding soil microbes continuously as it decomposes. To accelerate this transformation, layer nitrogen-rich materials on top of your cardboard before covering everything with mulch. Fresh grass clippings, kitchen scraps, or aged manure work perfectly. The ideal ratio is 2 parts cardboard to 1 part green material. This balance keeps your soil food web active and prevents the anaerobic conditions that create foul odors and attract pests. When you get this ratio right, something remarkable happens. Within 1 growing season, that cardboard layer transforms into spongy, dark topsoil threaded with beneficial fungal networks. The decomposition occurs exactly where plants need it most, eliminating the entire step of building and maintaining a separate compost system. Clay soils and sandy soils represent opposite extremes, yet cardboard addresses both effectively. Heavy clay tends to compact into an impenetrable barrier that roots struggle to penetrate and water can't drain through. Sandy soil presents the reverse problem, draining so quickly that plants constantly suffer from drought stress. As cardboard breaks down in clay soil, it creates air pockets that loosen the dense structure. Those decomposing fibers physically separate clay particles, improving drainage and making root penetration easier. In sandy soils, the fibrous material increases organic content dramatically, giving the soil structure it previously lacked. This improved structure holds moisture like a sponge instead of letting it drain away uselessly. For raised beds or problem areas, try placing soaked cardboard at the base before adding your soil mix. Thoroughly wetting each sheet serves 2 purposes. It prevents the cardboard from blowing away during installation, and it helps the material conform to uneven surfaces. Once you've mulched over it, this hidden layer acts as a moisture reservoir that slowly conditions the soil as it decomposes. In side-by-side trials, vegetables planted over cardboard-treated soil needed 30% less water than identical crops in untreated ground. That's a significant difference for anyone dealing with water restrictions or simply trying to reduce maintenance time. At the end of the season, you don't need to remove those decomposed cardboard remnants. Instead, just add a fresh layer right over the old one. Then top that with green materials and mulch. You repeat this process each year. This, my friends, is what experienced gardeners call lasagna gardening. It's all about stacking alternating layers of carbon and nitrogen that break down into incredibly rich, deep soil. This system, oh boy, it really eliminates the constant turning, watering, and monitoring that makes traditional composting so demanding. There's no pile to tend, no temperature to check, and no worrying about proper moisture levels. Everything happens right there, in your garden bed, with minimal intervention from you. The buried nature of this method also solves another common composting frustration: pests and odors. Because organic materials decompose under layers of mulch and soil rather than sitting exposed in a pile, they don't attract flies, rats, or neighborhood complaints. It's a clean, controlled system that converts waste directly into growing power. Compost remains valuable, but it's not the universal solution gardeners often believe it to be. For those dealing with aggressive weeds, compacted soil, poor water retention, or simply limited time, cardboard offers a faster and often more effective path forward. So, here's the thing. Cardboard suppresses weeds without the need for chemicals, feeds beneficial organisms right where they're needed, retains moisture more effectively than bare soil, and builds humus at the root level rather than just on the surface. By combining cardboard with strategic layers of nitrogen-rich materials and protective mulch, you can tackle complex soil problems that compost alone sometimes struggles to address. The real beauty of this technique lies in its simplicity and accessibility. You're not buying expensive amendments or investing in complicated equipment. Instead, you're taking something most people throw away every week and transforming it into a soil-building powerhouse. It's permaculture at its most practical, closing the waste loop while improving your growing environment. If you're ready to stop wrestling with compost piles that never seem to finish and want to start building incredible soil right where you plant, give cardboard a try this season. This humble material carries extraordinary potential for soil restoration, and honestly, the results speak for themselves. Your worms, your plants, and even your back will thank you. Found this method useful? Well, subscribe to Crop Corner for more practical gardening wisdom that actually works, and share this with fellow gardeners who are ready to revolutionize their soil health.